and all we have to catch the folks behind the dry river. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And wastefulness. You know the airport was to finish years ago. As far as I see, like it's on go slow. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And pompousness. But let me go hospital. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. Who ain't going to jail? They're going to hell. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. While we catch the tail, you doing well. Ring the bell, comrade, ring the bell. This time, man, we bound to break that bell. Ring the bell, comrade, ring the bell. We planning to give you a crown swell. I said to ring the thing, just ring the thing, just ring. And say you feel she bust. Before you blink your eye, case Nally plus. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And worthlessness. Michelle Andrews didn't tell no lie. You jam the poor girl hard until she cry. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And nastiness. And you fire Otto son. He have no job. Like you want the man to push drugs, thief or rob. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And viciousness. But let me go hospital. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. Who ain't going to prison? Going to hell. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. While we catch the tail, you doing well. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. This time, man, we bound to break that spell. Ring the bell. Comrade, ring the bell. Vincent Chan go give you a ground swell. I said to ring the thing, just ring the thing, just ring. There we go. You take away poor Marcus' property, and you wouldn't pay the man his damn money. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. I never see more mess. And wickedness. Look at how you're treating Bigger Bit. You're treating Vincent just like that.
Special good evening to all our Caribbean American news viewers, fans, family, enemies, and foes. Welcome, folks. Welcome to another Caribbean American News Media. Good evening to you. It is the 9th. It is September the 26th, 2023, and the time is 8 p.m. here in the United States of the Great America. And I know it's the same time in some of the areas of the world, especially the island of St. Lucia, to which I broadcast to. And so I want to wish everyone a beautiful evening. Folks, it's a beautiful world. All will be well. That's all I can say. But it is good to have you. Please share the live as you join. To all those who are just logged into our platform, we greet you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And to those of you over on YouTube, greetings to you. My friend Sylvia, and all the others, Gloriana, all those who are coming in. Greetings to you over on the platform. I haven't seen Boss Lady as yet over there, and to those over on our Facebook channel viewing us, you're locked in with our HD high definition platform. Greetings to you, friends. This is your number one platform for news and information, also for wisdom. Yes, this is the place for you. All right. And I'm here to settle you into bed and to, end the night with you. And so, greetings, my friends. There's a lot happening in the news. There's a lot of stuff happening out there, and I'm sure you would want to discuss it. You'll want to have a conversation, and so we are here tonight. I'm here with you, and I am praying God that we have a beautiful time. We have fun, we enjoy ourselves, and we conclude at the end that this is a beautiful world and God is the ruler yet. In spite of whatever it is, He is the ruler. We are broadcasting in our unique studio here. As you can see, I did some work again. I am very miserable. And so I thought, let me just kick up the studio a notch. And right now, we do not have any robotic background. This is a live background that you're seeing. It is live. There is nothing electronic about it. It is real as real can be. And so, I sit there and I think of things, how to better it. And you can see the colors of the flags, the color of St. Lucia behind me. Man, I did a lot. I put in a lot of work. Sometimes I try to figure out how I get the time to do everything, but God is good. Amen. And His mercies endures forever and forever. Yes, friends, it's important that you share the live, you press the like button, you subscribe over on YouTube. Those of you who have not subscribed to our channel, go over to Caribbean America News Network on YouTube and please subscribe to the channel over there. And to those of you who are on Facebook, I checked the report and we have about 60% of our viewers who are not subscribers, and very unique. And I know those are people from the Labour Party who are viewing us, but they do not want to make themselves known to us. But we welcome all on the platform. I keep saying that we need to hear the voice of the people. Please feel free to come in and to the platform. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. This is the place for you. It's the people's platform. And I'm hoping that all of us tonight, we can settle in and we can have a broader discussion, not on people and, about the development of a country. I am not comfortable in discussing people's business. That's not what I'm here for. That's way beyond who I am, and I'm not going to be doing that. However, there are certain characters sometimes we must call out, characters that hinders progress in a country, attitudes that need to be highlighted, need to be exposed, and that is what I will do on this platform. I will unearth unrighteousness where I see it. I don't care whether it's UWP, SLP, or no P. Wherever that unrighteousness is, it must be uprooted. And I believe I have been blessed with that responsibility, even as a spiritual leader, to guide the United Workers' Party, to guide the organization into the right path, what is right for the citizens, for the people of the country. And so just bear with me sometimes if you hear me speaking harshly to the United Workers' Party. It is because I mean well. It's for their betterment, for their development, for us to be a better people, better leaders in the society, a better government when that time comes. And so I am here as spiritual support, and also I am an activist. I am a political activist. I look at issues that impact humanity. as believers, as Christians, our responsibility is also towards those who cannot help themselves, those who cannot speak for themselves, like our elderlies. Some of them are not good on gadgets, and they are things that they want to say, and we are their voice. They're those who are marginalized, victimized. We are here. Those who are in the workplace who are afraid to speak because they're afraid of losing their jobs. I'm here, and I make no apologies for being here, and the noise around us, it is okay. That is expected. And what we need to do is to keep our eyes focused. You see, there's a nation to build. There are foundations to be laid, deep foundations that will last into many years to come. As I said, many of us will be no more. And then we have our children, our grandchildren that need to grow up in an environment. We got to leave the world better than we found it. We can do that together if we try together. So I am not here to beat down on the Prime Minister because I want to beat down on the Prime Minister or to beat down on any political. It pains me. Even today, I am looking at the Prime Minister's address, and it hurts me to have to come here and speak a certain way, about the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. It hurts me. It pains me because it is a hard thing to lead a country in this century. Believe it or not, folks, it is a difficult task. And that's why if persons are not up to the task, they should step out of those positions. If they don't understand the role, then they need to step aside, because being a leader in 2023, it's a hard thing. Especially coming out of a crisis, COVID crisis. And not only COVID crisis, you come out you heading into a food crisis. You're already in a food crisis. Supply chains issues, increased prices on the world market, crime, violence on the increase. Everything is on the increase. Lawlessness is on the increase. We are losing our young men and our young women in the society. Even those middle-aged people who should still be living, we are losing them through basic sicknesses and diseases that, not really death sentence, but because of your location, where you are located, the country in which you live in, it means that you will die if you contract certain disease or sickness in your body. And so we got to speak up against that. We got to speak up for better health care, more investment in healthcare. I don't care if the government borrow $1 billion or $2 billion to give the people of St. Lucia good health care. I believe it's a good thing. There must be, however, transparency where the people of St. Lucia must be able to see and feel and experience that $1 billion when they go to the hospital. I believe in universal health care for all St. Lucians, everybody. And that's what we should aim for. We can do it by the grace of God. No St. Lucian should die because they have no money, or should go on a waiting list because they just don't have the money, or don't have enough beds, or we don't have the medication, or we don't have the professionals. Nobody should die in St. Lucia because of certain cancers and certain maladies that in a developed country, they will survive. Their rate of survival is good. So these are the things, friends, we must speak about. And I will tell you, talking about a woman private part, or a woman nose, or a woman head, or her hair, or her false hair, or her false teeth, all them things not going to help aid in achieving what we're trying to achieve here. And my number one goal, as I said earlier, is to speak on these issues, keep the pressure on, whether the United Workers' Party is in power or not in power, or the SLP. We got to speak in this tone. And that's why I'm not taking on all the unnecessary please and name calling. It is not about us. It's not about me. It is not about, and that's why I developed this this dashing leaf mentality that when the water is thrown at me, then it rolls off. It rolls off. Why? Because my mission is much bigger than me, and my being here with you, sacrificing sometimes my character, my everything, to be here with you, friends, is a lot. And I just wanted you to know that I'm happy to be here with you. You have a voice in me. And until the Lord decided I will not speak anymore, I can tell you, you have a voice. My commitment, my friends, to those of you under this live, my commitment is to you, the people. And it does not take anything away from me being a member of the United Workers' Party. Nothing at all. It doesn't make me not a Christian or not a Christian. Because the hypocrisy is that some people hide to be what they are in the closet. I'm a UWP in the closet. I'm an SLP in the closet. And privately they pitchy and they and they whisper, and it means nothing because it helps not the discussion. And that's why the free press is important for the development of a country. People must speak up against the ills, against deception that is real, half-baked, half-truths, piece of truth. A little truth mingle with a lie. The first page and not the second page, or the end of the page, and we will go to that tonight. First page and not the second page, and riders, and footnotes, and clauses being hidden from the people of St. Lucia. And everybody walks around in ignorance. Oh, yeah. He's a liar. Why? Because they have half the information. Our politicians give half of the information and not all. And you now are left to speculate. And in speculating, you assassinate each other's character. Only to find out that the information that you receive, it is not the truth. It's not the truth. And so I heard one caller to NBC said, well, Mr. Shasta, and the money and the Panama, they took all the money and sent it to Panama in a private account, and the Dia Mall and the road. I'm like, what about the Dia Mall? Oh, they lose millions of dollars on the Dia Mall. How? The money in Panama. Why? How? So they repeat talking points. And it's sad. I believe politicians should be held accountable by the state for misleading the citizens of the country. They should be held to pay. And when we find out that what you have said to us is not the truth, you need to be held accountable. Why? Because you are on the payroll. You are being paid by the people. And therefore, if you are being paid by the state and then you are misleading the people, you should be held accountable. I don't care who it is. Because you owe it to the citizens of St. Lucia to tell the truth. Present the facts. Don't present it in a way that it will suit you and your party. And then you have a whole set of people walking around ignorantly, mad with each other, calling each other all kind of volley, all kind of names. And you with the information cannot come out and say, no, that's not the case. The honorable member is not a thief, not a liar. Here is the full information on the matter. And I believe there will be a special place in hell for politicians who have misled the citizens. As a spiritual leader, I do believe it. Because the Bible says no liar will have any part in the kingdom of God. So there's a special place in hell for people who go out there and deliberately lie. You're not lying to save your life, but you are just lying either to cover up some financial mishap, or you're lying so that you can maintain power. But look at what you do have the citizens doing. Acting ignorantly, disgusting, humiliating each other, belittling each other. It is time to stop it, and let us present to the citizens of St. Lucia the truth and allow them to make a decision. Present them the truth and let them decide whether they want your party to run the country or not. But tell them the truth. That truth will set you free. That truth will allow you to lead a country in peace and not in disorder. When you tell them the truth, you will be able to lead. Your tongue will not be confounded, confused. That when you want to say it, you say duh. That's Babylon. That's confusion. So it is time for righteousness to prevail in the land, and let us tell the citizens the truth. And tonight I will share with you the truth. And I hope that for those of you who are mad with me, that you put away your madness, because it ain't getting you nowhere. Put away the madness. Let's build this nation together. Let's have a conversation. You don't agree with what I'm saying? Call me. I dare you. You don't agree? Call me. Call live on the program. Call me privately. Message me and say to me, you know what you just said there is not right. But what you cannot do is to repeat things you don't know about somebody. It's besmirchment. And by the way, it's against the law. It's against the law. I don't have to bring people to no law. I prefer us to work it out together. Let's have a conversation. Brother, you said something is not accurate. Give me the right information. And this week was a good example of people communicating. Lisa spoke, and she communicated through the Facebook thing. And I am sure she believed what she was saying. But then the bill does not say what she was saying. Prime Minister didn't realize that's what the bill was saying. Confusion. And I heard somebody said, and the person was right. The person said, all you have to do, if you want to raise taxes, just go and put back on the 2.5 on VAT and leave it there. All this confusion that every minute there is an amendment to the bill. One bill, amendments upon amendments upon amendments. What is this confusion? And when people say that they're confused, then you say, why should you all be confused? It's clear. How can it be clear when everybody's confused? How can it be clear when your own senators are saying that Mr. Fede is lying when all he's doing is reading a bill? If you want to say to us, well, we met in cabinet today and we're going to make an amendment to it, say that to us. We will understand that, look, you guys are rushing this and you all are really not ready to do this tax thing. It was delayed over and over. You all had meetings upon meetings and still you cannot get it right. So what we saw, right, was a bill, Health and Citizen Levy Bill of 2023, page number 8, Schedule 1, Chapter 44, saying to us wood and articles of wood charcoal would be taxed, even though charcoal had never attracted a tax. But it ended up on a schedule. It ended up in the bill. And then you say to us, well, charcoal have never been taxed in St. Lucia. But why is it in the bill? And don't tell me there are thousands of stuff in the bill, thousands of products. You go through those products. We pay you guys to do it. You go through the products and you take out stuff. So charcoal should never have been on it unless you added imported charcoal. Not imported wood charcoal, but imported charcoal. So you tax imported charcoal. Maybe it might teach our people to use local charcoal. But when you just have wood charcoal, if you take us to court, we will win. Nobody can get into your head to say, well, this is what you meant. Whatever you want to put there, whatever you meant, it should be on paper, clear as day. And maybe that's why if you challenge a lot of these laws and bills, the possibility is there that you can win your case. Because lawmakers are not taking their time. Yes, they are human, defective, and can make errors. Of course, you will make some errors there. But don't come like a bully and then you try to turn the press upside down like their pappy show. When they're asking questions, you're telling them enough. Next question, kill it. What kind of story is this? Your job is to answer the questions. And if you feel at some point that you're not getting anywhere with the press, that they keep pushing the question, it means that there is no clarity there for them. And therefore, maybe you can say, okay, at the next press conference, I'm going to give you a document. Maybe we can do it like that. Maybe you can ask the press secretary, and thank God there's a new press secretary, and I wish her all the best. Let us hope that is exactly what's going to happen. I do not have the information now, but I can get it to you at our next session. How about that? Or when we finish, I can ensure that the press secretary get that information to you. But to tell them kill it, and to tell them move on, and to tell them you thought that they would ask this question and that question and blah, blah, black sheep, that's not cutting it in our society. It's not cutting it. No, sir. And I know what you're going to say. Well, the UWP, blah, 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 and the UWP did. I don't care who did and who don't did. We got to change. There's a lot of things that we did in the past that was abomination, that was not good. So let's look forward now. Let's start doing things differently so that we can have a different outcome and we can cool down the tension in the country. So Shed Alive, let's get to work. So let's go here. Now, most of you, bear with me, most of you would have heard of the story on the Dyer Mall, and we will come back to the taxes. But I really want to touch on the Dyer Mall situation, which we broadcast on this platform some time ago. Now, the Honorable Alan Shastney went into the House this year and was accused of lying, misleading the nation on the Dyer Mall. Mr. Shastney said, well, the Dyer Mall, the floor, he said the first floor. Bear with me, I got to reset my system. He said the first floor of the building was sold. And he went on to say that after we have made all payments, the building will be back in the hands of the St. Lucian people, the government of St. Lucia. He was called a liar. The speaker corrected him and read a document that he had in his hands. In other words, saying to Mr. Shastney at the time that what you're saying, it is not accurate. Mr. Frederick also indicated that the opposition leader was basically misleading the citizens of St. Lucia. Brethren, we're going to go to a clip. I believe that clip is from HTS. And I want you to listen. Let's listen to that sit-in once again. And again, this is credited to HTS News Force in St. Lucia. Let's have a listen, my people.
That he is mulling civil litigation over what he claims are misleading statements about the former Dyer Mall by lawmakers on the governing side of the House in the Philip J. Pierre-led administration. Shastney, despite word on the deed of sale on the mall at Tuesday's House sitting, called a press conference on Wednesday to tell his version of events. Castries Central MP Richard Frederick on Tuesday said the entire property and not just the ground floor was sold during the tenure of the Shastney-led administration.
The Dyer Mall, Mr. Speaker, was bought when the member for Castries North was Prime Minister. It was bought for about $20 million. We paid interest, Mr. Speaker, you were a senator then. We paid interest of 200, but I'd want him not to make you a senator again. We paid interest, Mr. Speaker, of 200.
House Speaker Claudius Francis would interrupt Frederick's contribution to present what he says was the deed of sale of the mall, which was made a document of the House.
Member for Castries Central, rather than speculate, I did instruct the clerk to produce the document.
Yes.
And it's already a document of the House. I would just read the paragraph. It says that the vendor being the Amazona Properties.
Now, brethren, I want you to pay attention here. And the reason why I want you to pay attention is that I want you to observe we have the Attorney General of St. Lucia, who guides the government on legal matters, sits close to the Prime Minister in the House of St. Lucia, and heard this argument without advising the House on the Dyer Mall legal document. The Speaker of the House, who is not a lawyer, he is not a lawyer and should have requested advice, legal advice on that document, went ahead and started to read in support of Mr. Frederick's objection to the opposition leader's statement. So you have the top lawyer of the country sitting close to the Prime Minister. You have the Speaker of the House flaunting a document. I want you to look at that and tell me if something is not wrong. If something is not wrong with this picture. Let's listen to the Speaker of the House again, who is not a lawyer and cannot insert himself into the debate on the floor. His job is to keep the order and not to insert himself in any debate in the House. But listen and listen good. All right?
Amazona Properties Limited hereby sells and conveys free and clear of all encumbrances upon the purchaser being Orange Grove Plaza Limited, a company duly incorporated under the laws of St. Lucia, blah, 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 the immovable property described in the first schedule. The first schedule describes a piece of land, and then it goes on to say the land comprising 5.4 acres, together with all appurtenances and dependencies thereof, including the buildings erected thereon. This is a documented house, that's the facts.
But Chasney is sticking to his story.
Now, the Speaker of the House, you heard him said, that's the fact. I want you to stay close to this, friends. The Speaker said, that's the fact. So it means that anything else would be a lie. But that's the fact. And this is from the Speaker of the House. Let's go forward.
Regarding the purchase and the sale of the building at Bois de Wage.
The most irresponsible and reckless statements that were made and facilitated, may I add you, by the Speaker of the House was the situation over the Daher Mall. Richard Fedrick, on his show a week or 2 weeks ago, and also repeated the statements in the House yesterday, is alleging that the Stephenson King administration bought. Doctrine of merger is specifically excluded, and that the obligations, undertakings, and the duties
herein contained shall survive the execution of any deed made pursuant to this agreement.
Now, for both the Speaker of the House, and even more so for Richard Fedrick, to deliberately not include that in their description, again proves once more that Richard Fedrick is the master of half-truths. And that he's playing on people's cynicism of government and politicians.
The opposition leader says he is consulting his lawyers.
I have asked my lawyers to review this particular statements and what has transgressed over the last week, with the intention of taking Mr. Fedrick again to the court. But I have to say that what took place in the House yesterday, where I was accused of being a liar, I was accused of somehow trying to pull wool over people's eyes, that I, as a Minister of Finance, was making irresponsible decisions to come at the expense of the people of St. Lucia.
Work on the building and property commenced in 2021. Gina Filippi, HDS News Force.
All right, folks, so that's the first part of the story. So there you saw the House Speaker together with the government of St. Lucia accusing the opposition leader of misleading basically not only the House, but misleading the citizens of St. Lucia on a very important building in the possession of the government of St. Lucia, a deal that was done by the government of St. Lucia. And so I want you to pay attention to this because it's going to go somewhere. Share the live. Invite your friends, everybody, please share the live. So let me go now. Let's come up a bit. So one, the Speaker of the House read a piece of document, land and building, blah, 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 but did not go to any of the footnote, any of the riders, any other details that were attached to that document which I saw myself, that indicated otherwise. And I stayed quiet because you had the Attorney General of St. Lucia sitting there while a government or the government made an attempt to stain up the character of the opposition leader, Mr. Chasney. Observe the game. So Mr. Frederick stands up to speak, which is his right. Speaker interjects, yes, I've already ordered the document to be a document of the House, and he proceeded to read in support of what the Honorable Mr. Richard Frederick was saying. Again, the Attorney General sit there, the top lawyer, sits there, moving back and forth with papers, and did not guide the House there in St. Lucia. But let's go to a report now from Hot 7 News. And this credit goes to Hot 7 News. Please follow this program tonight very closely, friends, very closely. I'm trying to show you something that you need to be aware of in your country.
Formerly the Dyer Mall in Bois de Wange will soon be home to a few government offices as well as some other agencies, so says Labour Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot. The information was disclosed ahead of Tuesday's parliamentary sitting. According to Poyot, discussions are ongoing as to which government offices will be relocated. The Dyer Mall building was first discussed in the public domain when it was purchased by the UWP administration in 2006 under the stewardship of then Prime Minister Stephenson King. After 15 years and successive administrations, no work was done on the structure owing to a lack of funding. The Dyer Mall again garnered public scrutiny when it was announced that the bottom floor of the edifice was sold to a private entity who would complete the entire project, then allow the government to repurchase the property via a rent-to-own agreement. The announcement, which was made in June 2021, just prior to the general elections, sparked heavy criticism from the then SLP opposition. At the time, Dr. Hilaire chastised Alan Chasney for miring the country in debt, alluding that the entire building was sold to the developer for a fraction of the true cost. Hilaire also claimed that the government would be paying $56.4 million in rent to the developer over the course of the lease. Chasney fired back, stating that not only was the claim that the entire building was sold false, but that the lease-to-own agreement would save the government of St. Lucia an estimated $275,000.
Now, folks, I want you to pay attention here because Mr. Chasney have not changed his position on the Dyer Mall discussion. If you observe, he is still saying, correcting the government on the idea that we just gave away the property, we lost millions of dollars, and it was a bad deal, no good. Kept on the same, he's just repeating the very same statements that he have made over and over again, both in the House and on the media. Very same, nothing changed. Let's go back over there, folks.
Or $50 million over the course of the agreement. To substantiate his claim, Chasney pointed out that the government was currently paying an average of $7.50 per square foot in rent, whereas the agreement was for $4 a square foot, a savings of $3.50 per square foot. The building has since been completed and rechristened the Orange Grove Plaza. On Tuesday, Poyot confirmed that the developer had in fact completed their obligations as per the lease agreement and that the government has retained the top 2 floors of the building.
Orange Grove? Yeah. Well, they have completed the construction and government has to do the retrofitting for us to use the space. We are still in discussion as to which ministries are likely to occupy that space as well as some other agencies, because we have 2 floors, the first and second floor.
Poyot further.
So now, wait, hold a minute, folks. Now you're hearing that we have 2 floors. And we are thinking of which government agencies will move in to the building. And she said it in a way where she is like, you know, like you drag her to that place of speaking on the diamol, which the same government spoke up against. They said it was a bad deal. We sold the building to this company. It's a bad deal. We are losing monies. But now they are discussing the agencies that will move in, government agencies that will move in to this new Orange Grove Mall, former Laya Mall. Follow me closely, friends. I'm going somewhere. Listen to the rest of the story.
Confirms that the government will in fact own the space after they have completed payment as per the lease agreement.
This will be owned by government after we have paid it off for almost 16 and a half.
So hold, folks. So the government of St. Lucia is saying to us now that the building will be owned by the government of St. Lucia. And you see her dragging her way through the statement. She's not excited or anything. It's like, boy, why is me the sent out here to do this? Because I was sitting in the house when we basically called Mrs. Chastney a liar. Now they are saying, based on the agreement in the sale of the property, that government will own the building, the entire property, after we have satisfied all the expense. Now remember, Stephenson King government, SLP government, under Kelly Anthony, could not have done anything with that mall. So it was bought, sitting there, because they have no money to do anything with it. They have no vision, no plan for the building. So the building stayed there after spending $20 or $30 million for it. It sits there. And no government could have done anything about it. Here comes the Alan Chastney government. Now remember, they said they couldn't get money. They had no money. They couldn't get the money to do anything with the building. There was no vision, no plan for the building. And so it sat there for all these years. And here comes Mr. Chastney. Got a deal where the government will not put out any money up front for the construction of this building. Here is a deal where a company will come forward, look for their loans, get all their monies in place, fix the building, get the bottom floor for themselves to do what they want. The government gets 2 floors. Now remember, the government got some monies up front from the new owners because it was sold, the first floor. So they got a few $1 million. Now remember, the building was sitting there, friends, with all kind of insects and animals, and fellas maybe homeless go in there. People want to you are the hotel lah, of course. So the government got a few $1 million for that building. They went into a deal where they would hand over the land document so that the owners can go to the bank, get all the monies to get this building up. And but folks, you would agree with me that when you drive past that building, it's a beautiful building. You can agree with me that it is a good building, a beautiful structure. Huh? And so, friends, of course, the government got into this deal where, look, you guys will fix it. We will rent from you all. We're not going to go get ourselves in any loan. We're not going to put the country in any debt, any major debt to fix up this place. You guys fix it up. We give you the deed to secure your loans and do what you have to do. But as soon as we will rent the 2 floors from you guys for a period of 15 years, when you would have retrieved all your monies that you have spent in building this structure, then you will hand back that building to us. So the government is in a position where they got a few $1 million from the deal up front. Now they come back and they rent their 2 floors at $4 a square foot. Now government have been renting for $7.50 a square foot in Castries and in other areas. And for the life of me, how is this a bad deal for the government of St. Lucia? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not sure if I am that dumb. But how is this a bad deal? So think about it. You're paying $7.50 a square foot right now. When you move those agencies from all these $7.50 rent in Castries, some of them, and you move them into this mall at $4 a square foot, isn't that not a savings for the government? Isn't that not something good for the government of St. Lucia? That somebody comes in, develop the place, you pay them rent from $7.50 to $4. How is that a loss for the government? But let's finish the story. I'm just trying to follow this as much as I can. I might be a little slow, but what can I say, friends? Let's follow the story.
The lease agreement.
This will be owned by government after we have paid it off for almost 16 and a half years. So right now we have completed the exercise. The contractor has finished the construction up to where they agreed to, and government now has to take it from there in terms of retrofitting the space and deciding which agencies will occupy the space.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Eldridge Charles.
Miss Charles, thank you so much for that report. St. Lucians, do you see what I'm saying to you? Now, you would think that the Speaker of the House would come back and correct it, or the government of St. Lucia. But what I said to you is that the Attorney General sat there and did not correct the government of St. Lucia. It seems to me that nobody is reading anything in St. Lucia. It seems to me that the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, government ministers, they are not reading anything at all. And therefore, when you ask them questions, whether it's on a bill or a deal, then they say to you, I don't know. We see that same thing with the tax bill. Prime Minister don't know what charcoal is in the bill. Don't know. You see with the Panama account, Prime Minister, don't know. I haven't spoken to the people yet. I don't know. You see a Speaker of the House reading from a document. Yes, the land and the property was sold. Full stop. And we see it over and over and over again. Over and over and over again, and nobody says nothing. Nobody comes back to the house and say, you know, Mr. Chastney, we were wrong on this situation here. But instead, Miss Poyot, who was Miss Virginia, who was sitting there in the discussion, comes back months after to say to the St. Lucian people, well, as per in the agreement, the building will be the government owned. And we're moving into the 2 floors. We have 2 floors. What is this, a game? Is this a funny game on the people of St. Lucia? That's my question. Is this a game? And the sad thing about it is that you have St. Lucian citizens walking around. What about the Dia Mall? What about Panama? What about the roads? What about the St. Jude's? A horse and a what about when you have a government that can give you the information? The government accused the United Workers' Party government of a lot of bobble, of a lot of mismanagement and bad deals. Here is the opportunity. Here is the opportunity for you, the government, to come forward with all your documents and say, here are the bad deals. You try it with the Dia Mall, only to come back and say to the people of St. Lucia that, yes, we're moving in our people into the mall, and yes, the property is going to be our property after. But that's not what you were saying to the people of St. Lucia in the house. That's not what you were saying to them. So for me, listening in to that debate, I would be like, Mr. Chastney did that? My God, that's a bad deal. This guy should never be prime minister again. Look at what he did. Me looking in, that's what I would assume. Why? Because the Speaker of the House reads a paper and says, look, look, look. The land and the property is sold. I have the document. The deed says it's sold. When on the same document, there is a rider or whatever legal ways you call it that stipulates there that the property after 15 years will be the property of the government of St. Lucia. But did you get that information, St. Lucians? And those of you who are right thinking, you're not political hacks. For those of you who are not hacks, don't you feel like you were molested mentally by these people? Do you not feel used and abused by the House and by the government of St. Lucia? I can understand if they said to me, we would not have done it that way. We would not have gone into such a deal. Fine. It is okay. The St. Lucia Labour Party will not agree on the same things with the United Workers' Party. They would not agree of doing the same thing the same way. I don't believe that. But to mislead the people and say to them, it is such a bad deal that we are losing so much money. We would have paid how much $1 million to the contractor. These guys took their money to give us what we have there today. A building that was sitting there and a problem for the people of Corinth, of that area. Now look at the facelift. And I'm sure with that facelift comes value in the area. But did the St. Lucian people had the opportunity? And that's why you government, it is time for you guys to start respecting the citizens of this country. It is time for you guys to and you see half-truths. These guys were right to a certain extent, you know. But what they did not give you was the full story. They said to you, yes, the building was sold. Of course it was sold. But they did not say to you that here are the conditions. They did not say that. So you have a whole set of speculation in St. Lucia now. The Bannon's land, speculation on it. Because half-truths coming out. Piece of the story. It's like somebody tell you, you know, I saw your husband coming out of Teresa's house last night. But what they will not tell you is that your husband was in his uniform and he works with the electricity company and he went to fix some electrical problems in the house for Teresa. He and his partner went to fix the electrical circuit in the house. It's half truth. So they tell you your husband went in to the house. We saw him go in. But they will not tell you that there was a problem that he went in to fix. And so you now, as the wife, start cussing your husband. You're not cooking for him. You're not cleaning for him. You're not lying next to him. You're treating him. You're roughing him up. When all he's doing is working overtime so that you can be happy. But somebody fed you a half-truth. And it sounds so convincing that they break up your relationship with half-truths. Be careful, St. Lucians, with half-truth. Be careful when people start waving documents in front of you. Be very careful, St. Lucian. The Dyer Mall is a good example. The fellas went into the house and debated. The speaker injected himself in the discussion.
What do you mean, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Mr. Speaker, I realize for a long time you want to be part of the debate. Since when that's your role? Since when that's your role?
The speaker injected himself in support of half-truth. How can we trust our leaders? How can we trust our House speakers? How do we ensure as citizens that we're being told the truth? How do we do that, St. Lucians? Have you ever thought of it? How do you do that? And how are they going to correct the record going forward of labeling Mr. Shastney a liar, when the fact of the matter is what he was saying to them was the truth? That the property is going to be the property of the St. Lucian government. Instead, you have Virginia, and you all need to vote her out. I'm going to listen to me, I'm putting a list of these politicians that you St. Lucians need to pay attention to. I am putting Miss Virginia on that list. And I'm asking you, do not allow her to touch your government again. She sat there and allowed her government to mislead you, only to come back months after, when the building is completed, to say to you, and you can see her expression, it's like they drag her, she's not too, and you can see her like drag it, like, yeah, the building is finished, and we're thinking, we're thinking of, which agencies of government we will move in, and the property is like the agreement. The property is going to be the property of the government of St. Lucia when all the payments is satisfied, and and it's like, what is going on with these people? I've heard you in the House, Miss Virginia, talking and you manhandling fellas in the House. I've seen you in action. So how dare you now come because you have to tell the truth? You drag yourself to the truth. You got to be excited, ma'am, when you're telling the truth. And what you did there was you told the truth. But nobody's going to come back to the House and say, Mr. Speaker, I would like to correct the records on 2022 at 6 p.m. We came to the House and we said that the mall was sold and we would not have possession of the mall, and this was a bad deal, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to correct the records. We are moving in all these agencies in Castries into both floors this month, and I would like to apologize to the Honorable Mr. Chasney. Let me tell you something. If you guys sit on a chair and wait in front of your TV for that to happen, one day you can hen skillington zo. Uchekli, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, I guarantee you. And you would think the Speaker of the House would come back and try to bring some order to the House. You think he would come and try to bring some order to the House? No. They're going to brush it off. You think the Attorney General would put out a statement? And I'm saying it is time for all these bills, some of the bills you can get online. It is time for these bills and these agreements with governments to be placed in the public domain for scrutiny. This would be a good check and balance for the citizens of this country, because we can no longer trust our governments to give us the truth on many of the deals that they're making. So it is time for there to be a pressure group to say to government, when you go to the House and pass a bill, immediately it must be uploaded so that the public can have access to it. When you make a deal like the Diamall deal, it is time for you to upload the deal so that we, the citizens of the country, can get the truth, because there is room for corruption when there is no transparency. So don't tell me you're going in a back deal with a foreign government and sell our seabeds and then say to us, there are certain deals you should not know. Wait a minute. Well, there are certain salaries you should not get. How about that? How about you not seeing a salary when you do those foolishness? So the government say, well, certain things are private. Private to who? Why can we not know our seabed deal, whether it was settled, how the deal went, the whole issue with Huntley and all them fellas, how those deals went, how have they been settled? Rochamel, even the Hyatt situation. Y'all don't forget Hyatt, I was there. How those deals went. The Bannon's Land deal, how that went. Those ain't no private transaction. Those are transactions between the government of St. Lucia. And if it's the government of St. Lucia, the people have a right to know the truth so that we would not be misled in the House. As far as I'm concerned, there is disorder in the House. And we, the citizens, don't know what is the truth anymore in the House of St. Lucia. So the bill on the taxes was passed. And you would have heard my discussion and thank God for Mr. Fede. Mr. Fede, I just put him down in my good book. They can say all what they want about him. call him out of his name, tell him he's Guyanese, go back to Guyana. Half of my friends are Guyanese. And a lot of St. Lucians are in the diaspora. The diaspora is not theirs. And nobody is telling them go back to their country. So, Mr. Fede, you stay right there and do the work of the people. And that's what you are assigned to do, the work of the people. When you work for the people will pay you. You just do your best. Be honest. Be transparent. Be open. And represent your people. So you stay right there. And you do what the people placed you there to do through the opposition leader. So, several back and forth with Mr. Fede this week. And he said, Garfield, he said, Oliver, just read the bill. Look at the bill. I read the bill. I sent it back to him. I said, man, I don't know. I don't understand this. He said, okay, what do you don't understand? Let me know. And then blam, blam, blam. I send the message to Lisa. I asked Lisa Joaie, can you explain this to me? So I am between both parties. Dominic is pointing me to the bill, the sections and schedule and everything and chapter. But Lisa is saying to me, and she said to us on Facebook, Dominic is a liar, and he's a thief in the night, came like a thief in the night, to put a tax on charcoal and black pudding and in no chapter yet. Then she says, well, it's on imported charcoal. So I said to her, wait a minute, that's not the word in here. The wording does not say imported charcoal. She said, oh, Dominic know fully well. He know fully well that charcoal don't have any tax on it in St. Lucia, so this will not attract a tax. He know fully well that, but the law does not say that. So, for instance, Mr. Fede might know, but he's referring to a law, a bill that was passed. And anything that's on the book as a bill can be enforced. Now, I know this one with the charcoal is technical because if it did not attract a tax before, then I'm sure it might not. But it is in the bill as a taxable item. But she called the gentleman a liar. And I realized that these people like to call people liars. That's all they have been doing. Shasna is a liar. Guy is a liar. Dominic is a liar. Everybody on the United Workers' Party side, they're liars. All of them. And you sometimes sit back and you wonder, what do you mean? How everybody can be a liar on the United Workers' Party side? That's impossible. Come on, give me something here to work with. So he's a liar. And, I would have said, look, maybe the honorable member is misreading the bill. Or maybe you don't understand the bill. Maybe we need to bring some more clarity to the bill. That would have been a better position for me. You understand what I'm saying? Than to call him a liar publicly, one of your own senator in the House, colleague. It's a liar. Only the same day for the Prime Minister to be challenged on the same matter by the press, and then he himself is knocked out of his boots. What are you talking about? Now, the press is coming alive. The press is getting alive. And I salute the press of St. Lucia now. They're coming alive. What I saw in that press conference was the press coming like a beast now. And they're saying, hold your horse, sir. Let me finish the question. And when the young lady challenged him on the bill, A matter of fact, when he was challenged on it, he thought they did not have the bill. So he's like rumbling, you see. I'll tell you. When the bill is pulled now, he's like, what? Is that an amendment? You say, the girl said, okay, let me read. Oh, no, read. Is that an amendment? And start trying to filibuster and to do all the technical stuff to intimidate this young reporter. Mais ces reporters ça même, yo ka spit fire ces jours ça. Because if they don't, we will spit fire on them. Because they're there to report to us the news, not to spread propaganda. They are there to represent us, the people. In any civil society, you need a free press. It's part of checks and balances for government. So you can hire all the press people you want. The more you hire is the more we will bring out new reporters. And guess who was in that press mix? Oh my God, the volcano himself, Mr. Dale, was in the press conference sitting there waiting like a lion in the bush. Yes. Hi, Joella, my little friend. Yeah, man. Sits in the bush, wait. But let's go to the press conference because we got to expose some stuff here. I am glad that Miss Lewis was replaced by this other young woman. I believe she will do a good job. I'm not sure if she's going to spread propaganda, but we will wait and see. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt that she will be a good press secretary because we want good press secretaries in St. Lucia. We want to know. We want the truth. We don't care if the Prime Minister lie, come and lie for him. Come, tell us, talk. Because you give us information. And we can hold him accountable just like we did a while ago with the Dia Mall situation. It may take 2 months, 3 months. But the truth will come out. Because you, the St. Lucia government, you have no choice but to bring it to us. You are the ones who told us that the Dia Mall is a good deal and it's open for business. You are the ones who said it wasn't good. Now you come and tell us you're moving in. So you see, you, as you speak, we document. And we will hold you accountable. So let's go to the Prime Minister press conference, folks. I don't want you all to laugh, all right?
It was not very easy. With you guys, it's not very easy. But I want to thank her. And I went to Dawn this morning to tell her how the job of press secretary isn't very easy because you have to take all the bad things the Prime Minister does. But she did well. I was very pleased. And I want to introduce my new press secretary. I think it's...
Okay, so we're not going to do the new press secretary thing. We want to get down to business. But we'll give her the benefit of the doubt so she can do her work.
It's going to give the police an environment where they can work and produce. I'm very happy for that, just as we thought. The House of Justice, as I said to you, it's a NIPRO project.
Please, man, stay there. We're going through it.
It's to resolve our conflicts. And many things are not helping. When an atmosphere of disinformation, an atmosphere of slander, and an atmosphere of misinformation.
Okay, Mr. Prime Minister, I just showed the St. Lucian people misinformation from your government, and I just showed the St. Lucian public misinformation from the Speaker of the House. So when you are blaming, and I feel your pain, sir, it's hard to govern in these times. But you folks can start with transparency. You can start listening, and I feel Mr. Pierre's pain. I honestly do. And anything we can do to make this man work lighter, we should. But they got to listen to the people of St. Lucia. They need to listen. And I don't think that we should just make this life miserable like they did to Mr. Chasney. Kept the man life miserable. Everything was a failure in St. Lucia during the SLP in opposition. Everything was a failure. COVID response, failure. Crime, failure. Everything, failure. You remember that? Everything was not going right. St. Lucia was the worst in everything. All of a sudden, everything is beautiful. What do we... Come on. Let's go back to Prime Minister.
Perpetuated. It's been... people react in different ways. But I think that good sense will prevail. I think the situation is not yet under control. It's far from under control, but we are trying. We've just got 4 drones from the Taiwanese government, which will be put into effect very shortly. Drones will help. Drones is the modern way of crime fighting. We've got 4 of them, which we will put into, we'll put to work shortly. So it's a work in progress. Again, I want to thank the police for what they do. It's not easy, but it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. But I'm not dissatisfied. I think 1 murder is too much. But it's work in progress, which we are.
On Friday, it was announced that St. Lucia wanted to bid to host Cricket World Cup games, T20 World Cup games next year. I'd like you can give any details surrounding that deal towards these games, and if not, just speak to the economic impact that such a tournament can have.
Well, I was actually at the UN when I got the news when it came to me. I understand we have 4 group stage matches, if I'm correct. We're excited about it because, there is a nexus between cricket, these major sports events, and the circulation of money in the economy. We expect every hotel room to be filled, just as the Jazz Festival. The spillover effect, every hotel room is going to be full. We expect that. We expect visitors to come from far and wide. We still have an issue of regional transportation. We still have an issue. That is something that we have to work on. But I also think the publicity the country will get throughout the world, the country St. Lucia, because part of the
I think the country is getting a lot of publicity from you, Mr. Prime Minister, so far. But let's keep going, folks.
Because I'm not very happy with them. I've told them so. And we will ensure that the people of St. Lucia, albeit grant funds, but still for that, the confidence of the donor must be maintained. So we are working with them, and hopefully when I get the update next week, I'll be able to get it.
One quick follow-up, the Rugby Day project. I know there's been some contractual arrangements and whatever, but there are certain key areas like the bus stops. When the rain falls, it's a hazard, but people cannot go to the bus. Would there be any interim? The Rugby Day.
You mean the $15 million half-mile road?
Well, I don't know but this Rugby Day project has been, it's been just laying.
Our position, I don't know why, our position has been clear, our position has been very, very clear. Very, very clear on the Grocery Road Highway. Very clear. We left government in 2016 with complete approval and loan financing for the completion of the Grocery Highway from Shock to Grocery. Complete. Funding in place, loan in place, everything in place. The government changed in 2016 and these plans were aborted. Aborted in favor of doing the road in pieces by direct award.
Okay, so we don't want to go through that part. We'll keep skipping until we get to the juicier part. All right, folks?
In fact, I have to say these things so many times. Not only these, but the secondary roads and the agricultural roads were funded. What happened is the tender for the secondary roads was out. What it meant is that the secondary roads would have been completed and then the main highway done. The tender for the secondary roads, the former Minister of Finance wasn't satisfied, not the last one, the one before that, Dr. Kenny Anthony, wasn't satisfied, so he sent it to retender. And the day the tenders board had to open was election day, 6th of June, I think. Right?
So you guys didn't know that there was going to be elections? You just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep going, man. We're just going through it.
Roads in a sustainable way. Because, you know, it will not be a matter of election roads. It's going to be a matter of roads for the people of the country.
You see, the Prime Minister is good on campaigning. So he's talking about the roads were done for as a campaigning strategy. That's what he's talking about, basically. But let's go forward. He's good on jobs, but when he have to answer real questions, he's afraid.
The Finance Act, there's been a big debate over it, about breaking it and all things. I know you had...
You want a copy of the Finance Act to read it? I want you to show me the other section. If you show me the other section of the Finance Act, I yield. If you can show me the other section in the Finance Act, I yield. You want to get a copy for you? Do you want a copy, Jerry? No, copy, no. You want me to get a copy?
He said that you could go around...
No. The Finance Act is a public document. If you make a pronouncement, just wait and read it. That's it. Very simple. Just read it.
Hold a minute. Now, folks, you know the Prime Minister don't read anything because he's always getting caught off guard when it comes to information. He don't know the French was doing what they were doing. He don't know about the tax. He don't know about cricket. He don't know about this. He don't know about that. He's not a professional on this. He don't know about the hospital. And he's telling everybody to read, but they themselves are not reading their own bills. They are not reading their own bills. So I wish these guys can follow their own advice and take their time and read their own bills.
How people just say things in this country. And they just say it. If you say that there is something in the Finance Act that allows a particular action, read it. That's all you're saying. Just read it. Take the Finance Act. It's like, I'm surprised you didn't ask me about the CIP funds. It's a pity. And these things are being said. The CIP Act is clear. It's clear. The National Economic Fund is a statute, is a law. And not a law passed by us, you know. It's a law. It's in the laws of St. Lucia. CIP money goes two places. The National Economic Fund, the adjustment that we made in it is that we said the cabinet could take a decision. Sue the National Economic Fund. Very simple. So when we talk about the National Economic Fund and Consolidated Fund, I don't know where is that coming in first. Secondly, is bonds. The bonds have to be repaid. Their interest-free bonds have to be repaid. What we've done is we started...
Okay. Bear with me, folks. We're getting somewhere. And remember, Dale Elliott is in the audience, so there's a little discomfort there. And I believe the press secretary is watching Dale, and they know what's coming next. But just bear with us.
Elections. Similar. Even though all the courts say he lost, he says he won. So I can't stop people from saying what they want. I can't. But I can tell you, the law. CIB funds, the law. National Economic Fund, a law. The bonds goes into the Consolidated Fund for repayment.
Now, that's his comfortable spot there, so he's not going to leave that spot soon. So let's help him move, all right?
We are heading to 2030, and there's concern that the countries may not have reached the goals of the sustainable development goals, which deals with the quality of life, which deals with...
I know, folks, you're having a bad time over there, so I'm trying to speed it up, okay? Yes, I know that you guys are like, come on, not again. But listen, folks.
That was so every leader from the region spoke about how we think we are being shortchanged by the developed countries. basically it was the same. And by the way, we had some sidebars. I met the president of Cuba.
All right. We coming, sir?
I explained about the situation. And they also noted that the crime in New York has increased. In fact, they're complaining about the roads in New York, if you don't know. So
I want you guys to hear this one. This one is sweet, all right? So stay there.
Speaking of our country, I know that in your travel that you met with some of solutions in New York.
And I celebrated my birthday with them, and we had a very good meeting. No, the basic concern was about Viewfort and crime, and I explained to them about the situation. And they also noted that the crime in New York has increased. In fact, they're complaining about the roads in New York, if you don't know.
Sorry, folks. I do apologize. The Prime Minister said that they complained. The labor hacks complained in New York about the roads. Sorry. He said answer complaint about the roads, the food and crime in New York. One guy tried to figure out what's happening in Viewfort, what's going on in Viewfort. The Prime Minister said, yes. I celebrated my birthday in New York. And by the way, they complained about the roads and the food prices and the crime in New York. Yes, they complained. Yes. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I hope you can fix the roads and the crime situation and the food situation there in New York for Anson and the others. That's funny. Sorry, folks.
I mean, it's you'd think we live in the same country. Sometimes you think that you want to have a perfect country. St. Lucia is perfect. St. Lucia is a continent and everything is perfect. But they will complain about the same thing. Cost of living, same concerns. Roads, cost of living, crime, the same thing. Issues which are worldwide. But make no excuses for us. We have to try to solve it.
So folks, let me talk to my people, my folks who went to the town hall meeting. So y'all go to the Prime Minister, instead of asking him about what's happening in St. Lucia, y'all complaining to the man about the roads in America and food in America and crime in America. That's what you all leave your house to go and ask the Prime Minister. What did you all ask the man? Mr. Prime Minister, how are you planning to fix the roads in Brooklyn on Church Avenue? Mr. Prime Minister, I need you to speak to Key Food and Costco and BJ's about their food prices. The food prices are too high. What the? If I was the Prime Minister, I would have asked my ambassador to ensure that those roads are fixed in Brooklyn, you know. Especially the road by Anson. Anson, I know my brother watching. Anson, you mean to tell me you dress up in your nice Sunday best with your nice silk red shirt and your nice hairstyle with your big smile to go and ask the Prime Minister about the road in front of your house? Anson, according to Cody James, give me back my good night. According to Cody James, I want my good night back. Oh, let's go back to the Prime Minister.
Always is the truth. Yes.
Yeah, my question was, at the last Parliament sitting, through the Commerce Minister, she made some revelations found out by the Consumer Affairs Department about businesses not complying to some of the VAT exemptions. And in some instances, it went beyond not only complying, but they were actually marking up the prices of sanitary pads and whatnot. Is the government going to change its tone?
Yes, the government has decided that sanitary
is going to deal with businesses, not only in this instance, but just future, I guess, legislative changes when you have businesses blatantly like not complying.
You see, all in a sudden, we want people to say they love taxes. No one ever loved taxes, you know. Any tax that any government passes, people don't like it. No one likes to pay tax. You know, the United Workers' Party government did pass a security tax. I don't know if you remember that. The United Workers' Party was the first government to pass a security levy. They were the first government to do it. And Stephen King was the Minister of Finance. And he admitted in the Parliament at the time it was the right thing to do. So they passed it. So right now we have a big hue and cry about the security levy, as if it never happened. Boy, Lord, what are these guys doing? They passed it. The United Workers' Party had an act on the books called security tax, passed when many members of the present government were in the cabinet. That's a fact. What happened? When VAT came into being, we removed it.
So, folks, the Prime Minister, the SLP government removed VAT because, the security levy that was done, he said, by the United Workers' Party. And so when they implemented tax, they removed it. But now, all in a sudden, the Prime Minister, brings back the same security levy that he removed, and not only brought it back, brought it back at a very fragile time when people are complaining about the cost of living in the country. Let's go back to our Prime Minister Pear of St. Lucia.
So, the sanitary products you're speaking about, we were not satisfied that the consumer was getting the benefits. I made the point that there's a difference between cost and price. There's a fundamental difference between the cost of a good and the price of a good. Fundamental difference. So what do you decide to do now as far as sanitary equipment?
But let me just say, Mr. Prime Minister, right now the St. Lucian people are concerned about their cost of living and the prices that they're paying at the supermarkets, the price they're paying for bread, the price they're paying for local chicken, the price they're paying for their little tanks of gas, the price they're paying to put gas in their vehicles, the price they're paying for everything on the island. The St. Lucian people are concerned about the cost of living, in St. Lucia.
Are dealing with the level of the price now. So you're going to put it under price control, sanitary equipment. Yes.
Well, Prime Minister, my question will be strictly about Saint Jude.
So there you have it. The Prime Minister said he's going to put sanitary napkins on price control. So tax is removed from it, and then that is removed from it, I believe. But now it's going to be placed on the price control list, which is not a bad thing. You women should be happy. You will still pay $30-something and $40 for a $5 sanitary napkins. Of course, you will. So what should be done is not really just adding it to a price control. It is encouraging those merchants or whatever you call them to reduce their prices, have a conversation with them, negotiate with them, talk to the supermarkets, the major supermarkets, have a meeting with them, sit down with them Ask them to ease off on the pedal, to take it easy on the people of St. Lucia. We can start there. Have a conversation with them. Make deals with them. Give us 2 years of keep the prices down for the next 2 years. And we'll do something big for you all. Promise them things and don't deliver it. But don't promise the St. Lucian people thing and you don't deliver. Promise them and don't deliver it to them. But tell them you'll give them something nice. You'll give them lollipop if they bring down the cost of their products. And that's what you got to do them. Jam them. Set them up.
I thought you're happy that St. Jude is going to be built and the stadium is going to be built. Aren't you happy? You have so much concern about St. Jude. Now it's going to be built. You got to say, go ahead.
Thank you. Prime Minister, have you ever visited the new facility?
Yes. I saw it leaking, water in. I saw no roof. I saw the
Sorry. Let me get some water. Wait till let me see. Wait till. So Dale Chappé. Dale Chappé. So sorry. So Dale, as soon as Dale put up his hand, Prime Minister said, basically, Gassa, don't ask me nothing on St. Jude, Gassa. You ain't happy that we finish in St. Jude, Gassa? Now, if Prime Minister could have hit their one hand slap. Let me see if they had Dale Gassa. And Dale licking his chops. Let me see where Dale Gassa. You're happy that I'm building the hospital, Gassa. But one more question, Gassa. No, by that time, brethren, by that time, the press secretary got closer to the Prime Minister. Oh dear. Monsieur, wait till now. What's her name, Mundi? But he got closer to the Prime Minister because you were tail face. Gassa, me te doit te Gassa. Pas mon moyen pour St. Jude. But let me go back. Let me stop. Let me behave myself, friends. I'm misbehaving tonight. Put yourself together, man. Act like a man. Let's go.
Prime Minister, have you ever visited the new facility?
Yes. I saw it leaking, water all in. I saw no roof. I saw water in there. I saw all the windows, water was coming in. And I saw a report that said it was...
Sorry, I can't help it. Honestly, I cannot help it. So Dale asked the Prime Minister, have you ever been to St. Jude? Basically, the new St. Jude. So Prime Minister said, I saw no roof. I saw water coming through the windows. He ain't wait for the man to finish anything else. The Prime Minister. How can you go to St. Jude and don't see a roof? I want to ask that question. Mr. Prime Minister, the roof at St. Jude is concrete. So how come you're not seeing a roof? I suspect they took you to the wrong place. Where they took you to the stadium? Because you all took away all the galvanized from the stadium because it was a hazard. So that's why there is no roof there. But if you're speaking about the new state-of-the-art building, the roof is concrete. Ain't no galvanized going on it, Mr. Prime Minister. You went to a session at the UN and you guys spoke about climate change. You spoke about building green buildings in St. Lucia, not paint them green like the three in Henry, but green buildings that can, that are climate friendly and everything else. So, Mr. Prime Minister, you're not going to see galvanize on the new building. And two, the building is incomplete. You said to us, sir, that you guys were going to seal the roof. So it means that there is a roof. So for you to come now and say you didn't see a roof, when you said to us in your debate that you're going to seal the roof, all you need is to put the rubber around it and seal it so that water would not come down. What you saw, sir, is water coming down from the corners of the joints that was not sealed. And how can you see water coming through the window? Qui calte la police on ici? La police a assez SLP, man. Qui calte la police on ici? Monsieur Prime Minister, he see no roof. He went to Saint Jude, there is no roof, and water coming through the rain. Anson having put Ale Barigo. Annually.
Yes, not once. I was there a few weeks ago. And I also saw a report. From the former government that said it was 30% complete.
Sorry, out of the 200 odd million, how much exactly will be spent on Saint Jude?
I have no idea because we're not doing it by direct award. We're doing it by tendering.
So the Prime Minister said the question is asked by Dale. Now, by now, you know that there's trembling, there's nervousness, and there's a whole set of people on alert in that press conference. So you can imagine how hot that place is getting now. The AC is not working anymore. Took bagay upside down, all right? So here's what happened now. So the Prime Minister is asked, the cost of St. Jude's, and he says, we don't have any costs. We don't know. Maybe Dale should have asked him, how much are you all expecting to put into St. Jude's? How much? But he asked him the cost, and he said, we are not doing direct award. We are going through the tendering process, and we do not know at this time what will be the price. But hold a minute. Hold your horses, sir. So you don't know. You have no idea. You have not done tendering, nothing at all. But you went and secured a loan for $200 million. Oops. Sorry.
I heard this short fella. The sky is falling. I heard this.
So I am honestly confused. I'm joking around, but I'm honestly confused where Dale asked for the cost of the hospital. Prime Minister says no direct award, so I don't know the price. I don't know the cost. There is no estimated cost. There is nothing at all. We have absolutely no idea. And maybe rightfully so, because there is no approved plan for the phase that he's talking about. There is no approved plan for the Saint Jude Hospital phase 2. So the Prime Minister is actually right that he do not know the cost. So my question would be if there is no plan, because obviously, and St. Lucian people have been asking the question over and over, what is the cost of the project? How can you have a cost when there is no approved plan? There is not a contractor. Well, it's kind of confusing to me because you said that there's a contractor, but he is dealing with, the government, the local funds. But the 200,000, there's a process that you got to go through to spend it on the Saint Jude's Hospital. And there is a tendering process that you're going to go through to get a contractor to finish St. Jude. So the government is spending millions right now of their money, local money, based on what the Prime Minister is saying. There is a guy on the job right now working. He said that work have not stopped, which means that there is a contractor who is being paid by the government of St. Lucia to finish the hospital. But the Prime Minister says we have not put out the tendering processes yet. So we do not know what it's going to cost us. But we have $200 million basically in loans for that hospital. So the Prime Minister went there and he asked, you know what, let's go and listen to the Prime Minister through Dale.
So we have to look for the tenders and we should have them. And out of that, we are also going to put equipment and also we're going to do the stadium.
So tell us again, what is the tender for?
The tender is for the completion of the original St. Jude building.
So at this time you're saying that you have not appointed or a contractor has not been?
To work, a contractor has not been awarded to do, a contract has not been awarded to do the additional works on the St. Jude Hospital as determined by the loan from the Saudis. What's happening at St. Jude now is going to be done from the local funds.
Prime Minister?
Yes.
You went on a tour with Joshi.
With who?
With Joshi, who is Renault's point person on the ground.
Yes.
In that discussion, you asked Joshi about completion of the hospital. Yes? The suggestion was 1 to 18 months from Joshi to you. The dialogue is clear, it's online. Are you telling me that a contract has not been awarded?
I'm glad you said it's from Joshi to me, not me to Joshi.
Are you telling me that a contract has not been awarded?
I'm glad you said it's from Joshi to me and not me to Joshi.
Focus, Prime Minister, focus.
But I'm focused.
Focus? I'm asking the question.
But I've answered you.
Are you telling me that a contract has not been awarded to CIE for completion of the hospital?
I'm telling you, a contract has not been awarded to CIE for completion of the hospital.
Why did you then have that discussion with Joshi about completion?
Because Josie was working. Come on. Josie is working as we speak on the hospital. So I have to ask him a question. I'm not the one who said it. He said it. I have to ask him a question.
You see, Reverend, this is getting very serious. Now, I'm smiling, but Dale seems, I believe, I don't know, but that Dale guy need to be at every press conference in St. Lucia. And I know why. He's fearless. He's bold, like a lion. And he asks the pertinent questions. Now, the Prime Minister, we saw the clip where the Prime Minister went to visit some time ago at the hospital. And I can look up that clip, see if I can find it. But he went to the hospital and he asked, when he passed with his hat on, his hard hat, he asked the Indian gentleman, I'm going to get my hospital, right? I'm going to get my hospital. You've been in trouble with me, eh? I'm going to get, and he said, yes, Mr. Prime Minister, you will get your hospital. We'll deliver the hospital. You all remember that? Folks, I want you all to soak this in, you know. Do you understand what I am saying to you, St. Lucians? And I said it earlier in this show, that you guys are being fed half information, and so you are left to assume. Do I believe genuinely the Prime Minister is trying to get this hospital done? Yes. But I think that there's a whole lot of bad apples in the mix that are causing wrong decisions to be made. Now the Prime Minister, in front of the St. Lucian people, said to the contractor, So I'm going to get my hospital. You'll be in trouble with me. And the guy said, yes, Mr. Prime Minister, we'll deliver the hospital. You'll get it. So if he's not the contractor, how is he delivering a finished product to you, Mr. Prime Minister? I am just asking a question. I am just asking a question. If you are, asking the contractor whether he's going to deliver a hospital to you, we would take it to mean that he is the one doing the job, the finishing. Now you asked him that question after you signed the loan agreement for 200 million EC dollars. And the guy was very serious. The guy said, yes, Mr. Prime Minister, you'll get the hospital. Yes, Mr. Prime Minister, you'll get the hospital. So Dale is asking you, so what's the confusion here? Then you say now there is no cost. So you don't know what is the cost for that phase that you are doing right now. There is no cost. And there is no cost. It seems like there is another phase for the $200 million that was loaned. It seems like there's going to be a tendering process and a contractor will emerge out of those contractors who would submit their bids to finish St. Jude. So if this guy is saying he's going to finish it for you, then wait a minute, what is happening? What confusion is this, sir? There might not be confusion for many St. Lucians. They might have gotten it, but I am confused. Honestly, I am seriously confused. So let's go back to the Prime Minister.
I'm telling you, a contract has not been necessary for completion of the hospital.
Why did you then have that discussion with Josh about completion?
Because Josie was working. Come on. Josie is working as we speak on the hospital. So I have to ask him a question. I'm not the one who said it. He said it. I have to ask him a question. Have you ever heard the Prime Minister say hospital complete in 18 months? Have you ever heard the Prime Minister say that?
The question was,
Yes.
as a contract
No.
I think he's been very clear on that matter already. He's answered you. You're looking for
Rescue.
And he's answered you that there is a tender process for the completion of the hospital. Now, you can move on to your next question, please.
Whoa.
You're welcome.
My next question, sir, is discuss the tender process.
The tender process, there's an agreement. You know, I feel so. I'm surprised that these questions are coming up. There's an agreement, you understand? Philip J. Pierre didn't go to the hospital and stretch his hands out and say it's too large or small. Philip J. Pierre never went to the hospital and said, that's happening, hands up. Philip J. never said so. Philip J. Pierre never said so. All Philip J. Pierre did, he had experts, the same experts who were in the hospital previously. We never changed anybody, Mr. Elliott. The same experts. The tender process is going to be tender process. You're going to see a tender newspapers. That's what you see, like any other process. That's what you're going to see, like any other process.
Now that you've gotten the funds to complete the hospital, can you tell St. Lucians how many beds this hospital?
Mr. Elliott, why are you going through the same thing all the time? You've heard for yourself in the agreement. Now listen to me. I've never proclaimed a hospital expert. I've never proclaimed either engineer. Don't ask me engineering questions. Don't try to think you can tie me up in that. I'm not going to get caught in that. You're not going to get me to answer any questions about hospital business and things. I'm the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. I'm not an expert in hospital construction.
Oh boy. So every time the Prime Minister asks questions, the Prime Minister says, I am not the expert, somebody else is. And he's right, somebody else is. But I would believe at this point in the construction phase of the hospital, with $200 million borrowed, that by now the experts would have guided you as the Prime Minister. And maybe it would be a good time for you to have a press conference like this with Mr. Dale Elliott there and your professionals so that they can explain to the St. Lucian people what is going on with the process, with the building. Because you are saying to the people that you don't know. You're not the expert. So don't try to pull you in. It's the people, it's not me, it's them. And you know, sadly, what's going to happen? The hack's going to come at me. I stupid, I'm an idiot, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But these are important questions, ain't it? And of course, we had some fun earlier, but this is getting more serious now because important questions are asked. And for some reason, there seems to be lack of transparency in this whole matter. Now we are finding out that there is one set of contractor on board finishing the hospital. There's going to be another set coming on to finish the same hospital. So to me, it sounds like there's 3 hospitals. One contractor finishing one, another contractor coming to finish the other one. Because one promised, yes, Mr. Prime Minister, we'll deliver the hospital. You see the confusion, friends? Now, I'm not accusing the Prime Minister of any ball or anything. I have no information on that. I would never do that. I'll be responsible here. But what I'm saying, man, this is not the SLP you're talking to. This is the citizens of St. Lucia. And when the press asks questions, it's to bring clarity to our minds. And as the Prime Minister, you take these opportunities to share information with the public. You should be excited. You should be happy. Because all the signing and celebration and the flabo, the hospital is finishing, they're not sleeping tonight, they're getting heart attack. All these crazy stories. Only for us to find out now that you, Mr. Prime Minister, don't know. You have no idea time frame. You have no idea of the total costs. You can have an estimate, an idea. Because I send out something to a contractor in Florida, and he sent back something to me, and he said, okay, it's going to cost you this amount. Swimming pool is not added. So you have a rough idea that this is what you're dealing with, you're looking at. But for a national hospital, the Prime Minister says, Pamware, I don't know, it's them.
Mr. Elliott, why are you going through the same...
Special good night to you, Brother Ensign.
Time? You've heard for yourself in the agreement. Now listen to me. I've never proclaimed a hostile expert. I've never proclaimed either engineer. Don't ask me engineering questions. Don't try to think you can tie me up with that. I'm not going to get caught in that. You're not going to get me to answer any questions about hospital business and things. I'm the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. I'm not an expert in hospital construction. Okay? So when you have these technical questions, I'm going to say to the people who deliver it. Yes.
You are Minister of Finance, who sourced the funding from the source.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you have not gotten a costing based on the number of beds, how did you decide on the figure?
Because Mr. Elliott, yes.
If you had not gotten that costing, how did you go about it?
Can you read my mind? Do you ever read my mind?
And secondly, naturally, it is a hospital. It is based on the number of beds. Prime Minister, are you telling me that at this present moment, you as Minister of Finance do not know how many beds?
I never said so. I told you look in the agreement. I said look in the agreement. You'll see what it says. There's an agreement. What's your question?
The question was so clear.
According to the agreement, it's going to be a 100-bed hospital.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
But that's what it's all the time. There's nothing new in that. That's public. There's been nothing secret about hospital, Nothing secret. We never the statements, and I know you're a man of great research. Look at the statements on the hospital. They've been consistent. We've never made any opinion if we didn't get professional advice. I have never pretended to be an expert in hospital business or engineer. I'm not. The first set of advice came from a group of experts. They are the ones who made the recommendation and the cabinet accepted it. That's the first set.
What was the mandate of these experts from day one? What was the mandate of the report?
Too late. It's too late now. Done already.
What is done, and of course
We're not going back there. We are going to, the decision of the government is that we are going to work on the original buildings and the box is going to be preserved for further use.
My final question to you, sir, is out of this 200 million, what, if any, will be used to settle the outstanding bills from previous?
It is not being paid. There is not a cent. Because there's the present money cannot, the condition of that it can't be paid retroactively. Because there's accountability, The Saudis, there's accountability. We have to account for what's happening. So part of it is that it's not going to be used for retroactive payments.
Okay, so we'll now hear from the
Just very quickly, sir. We heard some claims from the opposition that the government going to tax charcoal. Is there any truth?
But sometimes I wonder. We've made it clear. Nothing that was not vatable before, there's no evidence to carry it. I did something. Sometimes I listen to these things when Mondi and Melissa tell me, because, and then I wonder, I really wonder, because it fascinates me. Simple things. The Finance Act, you can read it. National Economic Fund, you can read it. Simple things. If there was, made a point again, let me make it pellucidly clear. Any item that was non-vatable, or it was zero rated, or it was VAT exempt, shall attract no health and security levy. The health and security levy is at 2 points. One in the customs. So when the goods come to the country, that are health and security levy, it is charged at the customs. There is no change in any software for anybody, those who import. At the services level, we made some amendments. We said that if you are providing legal services, you can't get taxed on the stamp duty. Okay? So we removed it. So the taxation, the consideration doesn't include the stamp duty. That was to support the consumer. And then he said the 2.5% levy will come at that point. But we recognize it will take some time. So we extended it to October for the services. But for the imports, that's been happening from the 1st of July. That's been happening. I don't think you know it's happening.
Okay, we'll take the final question.
Prime Minister, on that same question, I have here a copy of the legislation that was passed in Senate of the health and security levy.
Which one? Your amendment?
And it says here...
No, be careful. Your amendments. Which amendment?
Hold on. It says here, Chapter 44, excerpt tariff number 44.01, and related subheadings, wood and articles of wood, wood charcoal. That is the actual legislation.
Which one? Is that an amendment?
Let me read it for you.
No, you heard it. Is that an amendment?
It is the bill for consideration.
Is there an amendment, Miss?
There's no amendment.
No, there wouldn't be there. There wouldn't be the next step.
But it is in the legislation.
No, the legislation is no wrong. The legislation was amended several times. I'll tell you something.
So
we're not perfect. I never said so. We're not perfect. You see?
Hold a minute, folks. So the Prime Minister is saying to the young reporter, she's saying to him, but sir, it's an amendment. He says, she said it's in the bill. He said, where's the amendment? Is the amendment? So she's like, so Mr. Pair 2, brethren, this is very, very serious. And I'm going to, let me just step forward to tell you, friends, this is very serious. And I know that there might be some Labour supporters here who might be acting funny. But what we are seeing before our eyes is funnier. And this we got to be concerned about. Period. There is no joke about this anymore. So the young lady is referring him to the bill. He asks her about amendment. And the reason why he's asking about the amendment is that they have been finding a lot of fault in the bill. That every time they meet, they must amend. So there is a lot of amendments. Now he's thinking that, okay, that Coles thing was taken care of in an amendment. But how can you... It's in the bill. It's in the bill. There is no amendment to it. It's in the bill. Unless somebody can show me an amendment, there is none. I have the bill here. There is no amendment. I got to go through the Senate discussions to see if we miss any of those amendments, especially on charcoal. Because if there was an amendment on charcoal, I'm sure that you would have heard noise long time ago that, charcoal, tear the down too, huh? But you did not hear that until now. So I would think that it's in the bill. There is no amendment as far as I'm seeing on this bill. And even though it says except under 44.1, except certain products, charcoal should have been under the except thing clause. But it was not. It was actually a taxable item, charcoal, not imported charcoal, but charcoal. So, to make this young woman feel like confused, and you can see she backed down a bit because, she kind of like trying to figure out a bill amendment, what is going on. There is no amendment attached to the bill here. So she's like, but I'm reading it, sir. Basically, that's what she's saying. But it's here, sir. It's right here. I have it. And then he's saying, amendment. And you keep pushing her. When all you have to say to her is that was brought to my attention earlier today. And we're going to amend it. We're going to fix it so that it will not be a problem. And you could have finished with that there. But to make her feel like she's an idiot when she's only doing her job. How is she to feel now to find out that you guys are going to the Senate next week to remove charcoal in an amendment from the bill? How would she feel knowing that she was right? When all you had to do was off back, just say, that was brought to my attention, and things happen and we're going to take care of that. We will. But you allow her to go through all the rigmaroles, and then this is what you say to her.
Next step. But it is in the legislation.
No, the legislation is no wrong. The legislation was amended several times. I'll tell you something.
So
we're not perfect. I never said so. We're not perfect. You see, listen to me, Miss, listen to me. Can I answer you? We're not perfect. If we've decided, if we've seen, all legislation that is legislation that deals with thousands of products. Listen to me, please. That legislation deals with thousands of products. Thousands. If we ever realize that something has slipped through the cracks, we'll amend it. We're not perfect. The same way if we had paid for vaccines and we had got the money, we would have come and said, listen to me, we made an error. We're not perfect. After now, I'm very surprised about your vaccine money. Yes.
So they actually cut the press conference there on the from the folks. This is very serious, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm not comfortable, man. with information that we're receiving. I honestly am not. And don't tell me UWP did not give information. Brethren, I'm telling you, we got to do things differently. When Prime Minister, I believe that there should be special press conferences that are called for different stuff. For instance, on the Saint Jude matter, you want to get your chief engineer, somebody from Saint Jude's Hospital, a supervisor on the site, somebody from your ministry, and you come to a press conference to answer questions on Saint Jude's Hospital. Why can't we get that? Is that too much to ask? Because the Prime Minister refers to the experts. We're not seeing the experts. We're not hearing from the experts. And now I heard, and this is what I heard, that one of the experts, one of the guys who signed off on the report, what's his name? What is he, an engineer? He's saying now we never said any such thing to the government that they should use the old St. Jude's. That's what I heard. I'm not sure if I'm hearing right. And he said, no, I never signed off on anything like that. Because we were wondering what happened to the professionals in St. Lucia. What's wrong with them? So if he's saying to us, look, that's not what we did, can somebody tell us what you did? Can one of the experts come forward and say, I was on the committee. Can you sit with the Prime Minister at a press conference and answer questions and say to us, these were our recommendations, and here is why we recommended the old hospital. And then you say to the people, point 1, too expensive, point 2, faster, point 3, we have approval, we don't have approval, and so you sit with the St. Lucian public and we do not speculate. Caribbean American News Media, you're on the air, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my honorable friend.
It is incredible. It's really incredible what this government is trying to push on us. The sort of bullshit that this Prime Minister is trying to convince St. Lucians to swallow. And I sit there and I'm angered because I feel insulted by our government. Because it's our government at the end of the day, irrespective of whether we support Labour or UWP, it's our government.
Yeah.
First, the Prime Minister is saying, in response to a question about the cost of St. Jude, that it's out for tender. People don't put things out for tender before you have done your own assessment. You have your experts who do an assessment. Yeah. They say, okay, based on the plans that you have given to us, that we have put together, the designs and so forth, the hospital is going to cost approximately $10 million, for example's sake, just for argument's sake.
Right.
And then you put it out to tender, and you say the person who has the closest price to that tender, and sometimes even less than that price, is the person who's going to receive it, right?
Yeah.
You go through the tender, make sure all in the scope of work, in the bill of quantities, and the bill of quantities breaks it down to its smallest constituents. In other words, the bill of quantities will say how much distance of roofing, how much concrete is in the foundation, how many doors and windows have to be installed, how many coats of paint, etc., what type of paint. You have that in your bill of quantities. So you send out a tender with the bill of quantities, and all the contractors who are tendering on this project are going to do is to put in the amounts.
Yeah.
So for the roofing, it's going to cost X amount. He doesn't know, that contractor doesn't know what your expert has estimated the roof to cost. So when this tender comes in and says, okay, how much do we say the roof is going to cost? How much is this contractor tendering for the roof? In other words, the Prime Minister knows, as you said, there's no design, there's no plan for the building yet. And he doesn't have a clue what the building is going to cost. And what he has to do is to be St. Lucians. Don't try to bullshit us. And then to make it become a political issue where St. Lucians are divided about the issue because we're being distracted. He is placing a smoke screen to cause distraction, and then people start to debate or discuss the issue based on political lines, on our partisan political lines. So if you say what you're saying, Labour Party people will come out and say, it's the other way around because, it's not about what is right that people support now. It's about who made the statement, who you like. And it really offends me. It offends me to hear a prime minister say, the reason why I don't know how much it's going to cost is because it's out for tender. But brother man, before you put it out to tender, you have a costing inside. You have a costing indoors. And rather than say you don't know, say that information right now is sensitive. You cannot put it out now. We'll understand that.
That's right.
Because the contractors are being asked to tender. Then he comes and says this nonsense about how could you ask a man how long is it going to take to do a job when he doesn't have the job? So if he can give you a response that it will take up to 18 months, that means you have promised him the job. He knows what the job entails.
That's right.
And don't try to coach it because it's Renault that's going to get the job. So I detest that sort of, because that is to fool the people. That's not what we elect our governments to do. We don't elect our governments to be dishonest. And I look at the Prime Minister. How could he lie to the people of St. Lucia like that in a damn press conference? Excuse my language.
Yeah.
This is the whole nation. People all around the world are listening. Even the guys who borrowed the money or lent the money to him, to us, not him, us. That's our $200 million that you want to play a game with on us. And then to make it seem like Dale Elliott is being kind of a nuisance.
Yeah.
He's not a nuisance. He's asking the questions that needed to be asked.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister has a responsibility, has an obligation to the people of St. Lucia to give us truthful, factual, and honest responses. And in that regard, he has no handle on the situation, just like he has no handle on unemployment or crime or tourism or agriculture or infrastructure or the education system. The entire thing is crashing.
Yeah.
It's crashing. And he's not making it any better. Because you know what's going to happen? The people who have money, who can help make our economy better by investing money in St. Lucia, will not invest money, whether they be foreign or local. Because when you listen to this Prime Minister, ou même ka di either monsieur fou, monsieur ka menti, monsieur même has no clue. He's clueless.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is disappointing for me as a citizen of St. Lucia to sit. Forget about my political affiliation.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't support the Prime Minister, but he's our Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And we need proper representation. We need to sit there and say, okay, we may not support the man, but the man is going to the old Saint Jude, an 80-something-year-old building. He has borrowed on our behalf $200 million. This $200 million, UWP says it's going to cost $50 million. These guys concurred, right, to complete the phase 2, the new Saint Jude, the modern building. Let's say it's going to cost 60.
Yeah.
Let's do a little mathematical exercise, arithmetic.
Yep.
So 60 from 200 is 140. So for 60 million, complete the ground 2 hospital, which we know how much it's going to cost. We know how long it's going to take. UWP said 6 months, let's say a year.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1 year, we know we can have a Saint Jude Hospital that people can move in for $60 million approximately, or $50 million approximately.
Right.
We've got 140 left of the 2 billion. What do we do with the 140? Yes, we want to rehabilitate the stadium. How much does it cost to rehabilitate the stadium? He doesn't know either.
No.
Okay, so we got 140 million sitting down. We've got to pay interest on it. We just gave to a foreign company 2 of our ports for $47 million US. which is about $110 million or $127 million in EC to be accurate. So couldn't we have fixed our own pots on the $200 million and fix Saint Jude and also rehabilitate the stadium?
That's right. $200 million there.
So is there another place that $200 is going to be siphoned to?
Yep.
St. Lucians. This ain't no joke. And Pastor Oliver, sorry, don't even laugh at that nonsense this man is doing. He wants us to laugh so that we get distracted like it's a joke. It's not a joke. People are suffering in this country and we get $200 million and it's been thrown away. The man doesn't know what he's doing with the $200 million when you listen to him. What's he doing with the $200 million? In another country where people are more aware and more whatever, that would not happen.
Yeah.
They would have been tearing down this country. And I'm not asking for violence, but they would have been tearing down, asking questions. The young lady asked him an easy question. Easy question. If there are amendments, then bring out the amendment. Don't you know if charcoal has been removed? If it hasn't been removed, turn to one of your colleagues and say, while that question is being asked, please go and get the information.
That's right.
See if charcoal is one of those things that was amended, part of the amendment or not. Yes, of course you're not perfect. And now you want to bring that you're not perfect. You rushed the bill. Had you taken your time and done the thing like the Chamber of Commerce had recommended, that you introduce that bill in January of next year, you would not have had to make so many amendments. Each amendment costs money.
Yeah.
Each amendment throws people off.
Yeah.
We need to know, business people need to know what they're doing. You can't keep on changing the law on people every week.
Yeah.
So he's saying, okay, no party mistake, no change Simensa. And then next thing we're going to know, it's Pampers that wasn't in it, or is this, that, or not on it. You said there were 1,000 items. If there are thousands of items that you have to make sure which one is taxable, which one is zero, which one is non-taxable, why the rush to squeeze St. Lucians even more? And here we come in, 2nd of October, we're going to get another squeeze again. Another squeeze. And this isn't right. Not because we vote for you and we vote for you in great majorities. When I say we, the people of St. Lucia, should you treat the people like that? And if I was a Labour Party supporter, I would be ashamed and I would be angry because you're making me look like a damn idiot. And that's the way I see our Prime Minister. He's making himself look like an idiot, and I know he's not an idiot. He's lying too much. He has lied to St. Lucia too much. He's catching up with him. He's become like he's a joke. He's the joke of the Caribbean. And it's embarrassing for us as St. Lucians. And St. Lucians need to start speaking up because he can do better than that. I know he can do better than that. You can't tell me that a man who has been in politics, a man who has a master's degree, the man has been in politics for over 30 years. He has sat as minister, deputy prime minister, now he's the prime minister. And that's how he's doing that F up. That's how he's running the country. And we accepting that. We know pepper. That's my pepper. That's been waiting with them. Good night.
Boy, that was our friend Jimmy. And Jimmy seems to be very upset. I don't normally hear him like that, speak like that. He seems to be very, very upset, about this matter. Caribbean American News Media, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon. Good night, sir. I want to concur with the last call and based on everything he's saying.
Yes.
Because I cannot believe what is happening to our country. And I want to thank Jill Elliott for putting it out there and making sure that we keep this Prime Minister and the St. Lucia Labour Party on their toes. One thing I want to ask, did you remember what Reno was hired to do down at the hospital? Because I remember it was the fencing and the bleaching, they said the bleaching down of the building, right?
I think it was a Trinidadian firm or something that had to do the cleaning of the building.
Okay, so Reno was tasked with fencing the building and let's say cleaning down the building. But did you remember the government made an announcement that the first phase of that cleanup was done, right?
That's right. They are now on to phase 2. I think that was the last thing we heard.
Okay, so they're now on phase 2.
Yeah.
But the point of what I'm trying to bring up about is how they reach on phase 2, and the solution people do not know what is actually happening down there, or how much local money has been spent so far on phase 2, because he said work is ongoing at the hospital.
That's right.
But we borrowed $200 million and there hasn't been no tendering as yet. So in other words, like I was always asking, how could everybody been asking that, how could you determine how much would the hospital cost? Yes, based on 100 beds and whatnot. But you're still breaking down walls, you're still breaking down wings, or you're putting up walls to separate the because don't forget, let us not get confused. Phase 1 is the old hospital.
Yeah.
Phase 2 is the new hospital.
Yes.
So it was they're not in phase 2, because if they was in phase 2, it would have been on the new hospital that Alan Chasney and the United Workers Party came about doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're still on phase 1. So let us not get confused about phase 1 and phase 2. Guy Joseph said it on in the last town hall meeting down in where they had the town hall meeting, where phase 1 is the old hospital. So he said they're going to finish up going to spend that $200 million on just phase 1 and leave the box for further use down the line. That was his words in the press conference, right, a while ago, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know how much local money has been spent on phase 1, because phase 1 was just basically, like they said, well, not get confused. What was being taking place, the work that was going in the hospital in the phase 1 building was the cleanup and the breaking down, and the fencing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what Dale Elliott asked him with Joshi, he asked Joshi, hey, am I going to get my entire hospital?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Where I believe this prime minister is suffering from a mental illness, which is I don't know how to call it, amnesia or whatever it is, or lack of just forgetting what he said yesterday.
Yeah.
Or just forgetting what he said day before yesterday. Because it is very amazing that this man has over 17 ministers around him. He's what's the guy named? The Attorney General. And all those guys. To me, it is an agenda to shove the St. Lucian people, to take us for a joyride, and believe that those guys can get away with it. And the reason why they have been getting away with it for so long, watch how many documents that Frederick came out on the last government. Documents after documents, and you said it for yourself.
Yeah.
2 years now. Who has been held accountable on the opposition side today? So the question is it illegal? Because remember Marvin Charles got charged recently. Remember Marvin Charles got charged, right?
Yes.
Or they confiscated his computer. Why did they do that to Marvin Charles? I want to ask you that question.
I honestly don't know. At this time,
the law was amended in 2009 based on false information about somebody.
Yeah.
Deteriorating, killing somebody's character, whatnot and whatnot.
Yep.
Isn't that the same thing? Richard Frederick, Philip J. Pierre, and the entire St. Lucia Labour Party, Stevenson King, which is the main one as well, the deadweight, was been doing to the members of the United Workers Party. Isn't that the same thing? Because hey, those guys tricked the entire nation in believing that Alan Chasney was stealing St. Lucian money. Yeah. Alan Chasney was wrong about the Dyer building. Alan Chasney was wrong for going and build a new building. And Alan Chasney said it. In Stevenson King report about St. Jude's, there was plans to build a new hospital.
Yeah.
The old hospital was meant to serve as just a whole spot like what happening in the stadium. But the initial thing was to look for a location to build a new hospital.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yep.
Those guys are manipulators at the highest level, and Kenny Anthony who I will be held accountable for everything that is wrong in St. Lucia, came up with that style of governance where you push propaganda. Like, I don't know if you know about Nazi Germany.
Yes.
And the propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels.
Yep.
And a great man always bring him up as well, said, you can tell a lie as much as you can and people will start to believe you.
Yes.
But now we are reached to a juncture in St. Lucia history where it is a new United Workers' Party, and we are not going to sit by idly and allow the St. Lucia Labour Party to be peddling lies in such a manner where lives are being lost, jobs are being lost, the healthcare system is in a mess, the economy is in a mess, we have taxes all over our throats, they're making amendments all over the place, costing the St. Lucians billions of dollars. I said it over and over and over. From 1997, from Kenny's first budget address to 2016 into let's jump past into 2021. The St. Lucia Labour Party, to me, have squandered over $40 billion.
Wow!
And for them, no, that's my opinion. I'm not putting that factual.
Right.
It is for the experts to go and do their homework, because I want to tell you, this must stop in our country. The masses of leakages, because you call that espionage, you call that spying.
Yeah.
In any great country, Russia, America, you have whistleblowers like Stephen King. What is happening to whistleblowers in America, my brother? Mm-hmm. Well, you know some of the whistleblowers, some of the great whistleblowers. Recently, there was a whistleblower for military interference with America.
He's
a young man, jail.
Yeah.
Right? What he's been dealt with. Gunpoint, they come and take him about his home.
Yeah. Yep.
Millions of information, no arrest, no accountability. They won the election based on that, right or wrong?
That's right.
And today,
worse.
So we just sit in silence. Today we just sit in silence and allowing all that to just fly under the mat. We supposed to be holding those guys accountable. There is laws, because those guys have misled an entire nation. I call that the great blunder of the 21st century.
Yes.
SLP is the great blunder of the 21st century. Yeah. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's just the same thing with, we have to speculate, because this government is a speculated government, a speculator store out there.
Yeah, you
speculate.
Yep. In the absence of information, that's what people do, you know.
But the point I want to bring across is that we St. Lucians are at a critical junction in our history and for our country. Great England is over 1,000 years of independence. I always bring up America is 200 years of independence. Mm-hmm. We're only 45, 47 years of independence?
Around that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we are the generation which are the pioneers of where we're going to take our country in the next 50 years, in the next 100 years. And if we do not stop what is happening now, the misinformation, the lies, the deceits, the anarchy of our justice systems and our health systems, the anarchy of the government itself, where whistleblowers just come and just push out false information or half truths, and then we now UWP always have to continuously covering up the trying to push out the truth, and the opposition, the government, the SLP people know they are lying. They know that. Years and years we hear Guy Joseph is in all types of different. Guy Joseph is not in jail. Bobo.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Which country will you see that happening? You understand? So what I'm just want to say before I have to cut short because the other people I want to call is that if we do not take a stand now, we will end up exactly or even worse than what is going on in Haiti. Because it didn't just start with the situation in Haiti. It took maybe 100 years because Haiti is the first independent country. There are many different factors, the reason why. But it is similar to us what is happening to us now, because great men that have the position to make a change and stand and say no, are sitting silently because of whatever reason. You understand? This is not the time for us, St. Lucians, to sit idly. We are at war with ourselves. We have to find ourselves and our place in this world as to what we're going to contribute to the Caribbean. It is not by chance England and France fought 14 different wars for St. Lucia. It is not by chance St. Lucia is the Helen of the West. That word, we just slung those words 7 times British, 7 times French. What did the British saw? What did the French saw to send millions of troops to die for our land? St. Lucia is a strategic island. The Prime Minister himself said when it comes to transportation, when it comes to development, we produce Nobel laureates, we still producing great minds, we producing the fastest people in the world, but we not elevating ourselves to bring the country where it needs to go, because the country is supposed to be over 50 years ahead of all the other surrounding island states. Yeah. We're supposed to be on par with Martinique, but yet still we have the St. Lucia Labour Party always coming into power and bringing us 10 years back. Nobody's going to jail. Kenny Anthony said how much things about impacts. Who are the facilitators of crime that he mentioned? The government ministers, he said, that are facilitators of crime. The businessmen are the facilitators of crime. You understand? Yeah. You made when this man came up with impacts report, the man made Vernon Fossois basically lose his job because all the blame was on Vernon Fossois for Operation Restore Confidence. Vernon Fossois wrote a book about that. You understand? Look, today you're back in government. You cannot say who are those government ministers. There are not many new government ministers in our cabinet, in our government or in opposition. Where are those businessmen? And you want to talk about dealing with crime, and we have an impacts report that the Americans sanctions in our government. It was Aaron Chastney administration that went and speak to the Americans to remove some of the sanctions so that we can at least get a few training. You understand? Yeah. The Americans are coming on St. Lucian shores to train other islands, and we self cannot even get training from the Americans or assistance from the Americans. You see the great blunders I'm telling you about? Yeah. You see this great speculation? Who is going to be held accountable for those? The man came on national TV and talked about impacts, you know. Yeah. And we in the same situation. Yeah. I tell the St. Lucian people. Yeah. Like I tell the St. Lucian people, this is no time to sit by idly. It's either we break our country, because this is the 21st century. AI is taking over, that is artificial intelligence. Yes. We are going through another dimension in the history of the world, in the history of everything. And the worst thing that can happen to our country is we've been left behind from the waves of evolution that is facing the world, because all the wars and all the hardships and all the prices going up and that COVID-19 and global warming, it is just a whole new phase that is happening, a new millennium. We cannot have slow-minded people governing our country, or corrupt people governing the country, or people that do not see the foresight for 10 to 15 years, like in that era when Sir John saw it. Yeah. Alan Chastney sees it. Yep. Yep. We made a mistake as a country. We have 3 years to get our act together. But if we do not get our act together, St. Lucia is finished. By 2024, the ending of 2024, St. Lucia economy will crash. The reason why it will crash, it is too overburdenedly taxed. There's no jobs creation. We're talking about building new hotels, but there's no cruise ships coming in. France has sent visa advisory. We lost bananas to England, and we lost all the flights from America. We at a one-way cost to disaster, and it will lead to civil war. I do not say that, but if I have to take up arms to defend my country and defend what I believe in at that point and at that juncture, from the anarchy that is happening, that's what's supposed to be done. Because our constitution wasn't the reason why those guys are messing around with our constitution like that. Our constitution wasn't fought in blood. The Americans fought for the constitution in blood. That is why the First Amendment in America and the gun laws in America cannot be changed. Because the people have the right to express themselves. The people have the right to do that because you know why? They got that constitution in blood. You remember the American Civil War, of course.
Yep.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here, caller.
All right, my brother. I thank you.
No problem.
I'm going to let somebody else speak, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
going
you.
to let.
Yeah, but I'm not going to push for anyone taking up arms or anything. I would say to you, let your voices be heard. Get involved in the discussions. Get involved in different groups. That's how you get involved. That's how you make a difference. You know, you engage in the development of your country. All right. So I pray that it do not get to that place, and it will never get there, because the people are more engaged. They're asking the right questions, and their heads is in the right direction. All right, but let's go over to St. Jude's and what the Prime Minister was saying. Okay, so we will try to get the full clip, but I got to go now, folks. I saw we had some more calls coming in, but I got to run now. I have an appointment very early in the morning. And so, folks, I really appreciate you coming here. I see we have one more call. Let me see if I can take it quickly. Caller, you are the last call. Welcome to the platform.
Good evening, Brother Garfield. How are you?
Good evening. Greetings to you.
I'm glad you're showing that video, because that's one of the reasons why I was calling.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I want to give you a homework, man.
Yeah, talk to me.
You need to kind of make a compilation with the older photos and videos that was made of St. Jude, with all the problems, I don't know if people have the memory to remember how low some of these ceilings were, and what you're showing now, although I may not know in which buildings those were, if that's the same building. So there's a lot to factor. But however, I remember you going in the area there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you went in that building.
I went into the new one.
Oh, but you didn't go into the old one. But if you can get in touch of those older videos. I remember Dale Elliott made that Untold Story. See if you can find the footage of that older structure. And when you look at the gentleman that is working with Freno, what he's showing and how much that has changed in that building. Let me tell you something, my brother. It is not something good to call your Prime Minister a liar, but the Prime Minister is lying to the people of the country. And I will tell you why. A lot of funds have been misdirected to the Saint Jude.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a $10 million allocated for the fencing and the cleaning up of that. And it was supposed to last somewhere around 10 months. 4 months, sorry. However, we have passed that long time.
Yeah.
Where are these fundings coming from?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yes, I got you. Yeah.
Brother Garfield, this hospital is a cash cow. There was a question posed to Dr. Kenny Anthony at the time by Dale Elliott. And he asked him, why is it you as the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance keep signing checks for people to be paid, but not actually looking at the work that is being done at the hospital. Basically, he shoved it off as he thought that because he have all those people around him, he thought that everything was done. So he was basically signing those checks away. This prime minister, who was second in command to Kenny Anthony, he knew all the ropes. He knew everything. But here he is today. Cannot give us a date as to the hospital will be finished. Cannot give us how much it would be costing us, taxpayers, on that hospital. But the work continues as normal, as usual. You see, there is a level of hypocrisy in that country. And it needs to be mentioned, Brother Garfield. Because I cannot understand how on God's earth that we, people of St. Lucia, can allow governments to keep fooling us in such way.
Yep.
The man cannot give you none of that, but yet still he can tell you that the work is continuing as he speaks. Then what are you working on? What is it you're doing? You know, if you telling me that the money you took is to finish the hospital, the money you borrowed, the 200 million is to finish the hospital, then why are these people working at the hospital?
Question.
Now I'll tell you why. This is what he don't want to tell the people. Brother Garfield, the report said a lot of things was wrong in that hospital, in that building. And in order for that building to become suitable for a hospital, they would have to make a lot of changes and it would cost a lot of money. Now, that was a report that was made by the previous administration, right?
Yes.
Now, this prime minister will not want to tell the people that. However, he's still working there and not disclosing how much it's costing the nation. You see the trickery in that prime minister?
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people tend to think that Philip J.P. doesn't remember what he's saying. But let me tell you something, Brother Garth. I am pretty sure you can remember the date, the year, and even the day your son or daughter was born, right or wrong?
Yep.
Because it's factual.
Yep.
That's what happened. You can't forget the truth, my brother.
Yep, it's true.
The lies is what you forget. You know, and anytime this prime minister is caught up in a lie, I don't know if people realize, he stumbles, he grins at you. And the other thing we need to pay attention to in that little clip, in engagement with Dale Elliott and the young lady that was asking him the question. The prime minister is a bully. He is a bully. You see how agitated he was getting?
Yeah.
You see how aggressive he was getting towards the young lady already?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to answer the pertinent questions. And when you corner him, because he lies a lot, when he gets cornered, he gets agitated. And that's when he tends to bully people. You know? We have to say it as it is, Brother Garfield.
Yep, yep.
I will say to the people that want to see a better country, I listen to a lot of those people that call for the kids to be, and I can say, especially the Minister of Education, that call for the kids to be better in school. He should go as far as looking at the people that he sits with that behave worse than those kids in Parliament. You see, we tend to forget that the kids tend to take the cue from us, adults, you know.
Yep.
But we quick to blame them, but not look at ourselves. Look in the mirror, man. Look at the reflection.
That's right.
Look at what are you becoming. You understand?
That's right.
These guys are basically lying to the people because they were hungry for power and they're still hungry for power. You understand? It's not about governance to these guys, Brother Garfield. Governance have nothing to do with those guys. You know? It's all of this is a facade. There's nothing more than that. You see, if a government cannot, if a prime minister, cannot stand in a press conference and answer questions that will better inform the public, we have a serious problem. We have a serious problem. You know, and I don't care about the politics in there, because a press conference of that a magnitude shouldn't be of politics. It should be of releasing factual information to the public so that we don't speculate. You know. Now I want to ask you a question again, Brother Garfield, if you permit me.
Yeah. I gotta go soon, but go ahead.
No problem. That's the final take on it.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you, when you build in a home, forget about the hospital. When you build in a home, you have to know, you have to have a budget in the first place.
That's right.
As to how much you want to spend on that home.
Yeah.
Right. So you would go to your architect to tell, okay, my budget is $300,000.
That's it.
I want you to build a home around that $300,000 for me. Draw that plan for me. You know. But here we are building on a larger scale. This is a much bigger scale than building a simple home. And we don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't have a budget. We just throwing money up in the air. And no one is concerned.
Nobody's concerned.
But Garfield, my final say is, as much as the politicians are failing us, those people we have in public service that are supposed to guard our institutions, they're failing us just as bad, if not worse than those politicians. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. And folks, there you have it. I got to run. We got to run. But have a beautiful night, everybody. Thank you for being here with us. Look, friends, it's been a long night, and it is what it is, all right? So see you when I see you. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. And we do apologize. I saw a number of other calls that were coming in, but I really can't take them now. I got to go, all right? So blessings to you. It was nice being here with you, my people. Enjoy the night. May God bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you, give you peace in your homes, peace wheresoever you go, in Jesus' mighty name. So sleep, friends, in peace. Blessings to all, and we will be back on. See you when we see you.
The sky is falling.